with a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning to all our viewers. It is Wednesday. It is Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates. We are live here from Port Mall in Scarborough. I'm happy to see you all this morning. To our viewers on our varying platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and 102 on AMPLIA. It is drop dead in the center of the week, and I know some of us may be tired, some of us may be dragging for the rest of the week. But I mean, we're alive, right? And we're thankful. The place is cool. It's not hot. You know, we're just thankful for everything that we could have. God has blessed us indeed. All right, but before we go on, let's have our news in 90 seconds. Here is your news in 90 seconds for Wednesday, 21st May 2025. Recent ministerial appointments reflect strategic adjustments within the government. Finance Minister Davin Dranath Tanku was appointed Acting Minister of Planning, Economic Affairs and Development during Kennedy Swarat Singh's absence from May 14th. Effective May 15th, Tanku was also named Minister in that ministry. Meanwhile, Swarat Singh, the substantive Planning Minister, was appointed Minister in the Ministry of Finance on May 13th. Both appointments were published in the Gazette. Additionally, Wilfred Nicholas Morris was formally named Parliamentary Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister following his May 3rd appointment to a similar role in Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. Defense Minister Wayne Sturge has approved limited access media for Jamaican dancehall artist Vybz Kartel Adidja Palmer during his upcoming visit to Trinidad and Tobago, while maintaining restrictions on youth interactions. Kartel will be allowed 2 radio interviews during school hours, but denied any school visits, public meet and greets, or TV appearances. Sturge emphasized safeguarding youth from potentially harmful messaging while acknowledging Kartel's positive intentions. The artist, freed in 2024 of a murder conviction, supported the restrictions, blaming his promoter for overstepping. Kartel is now set to arrive on May 27th. Trinidad and Tobago may soon face increased migration from Venezuela following a U.S. Supreme Court decision supporting President Donald Trump's move to revoke temporary protected access for 350,000 migrants. Dr. Anthony Gonzalez, a former IIR head at UE, warns that Venezuela is ill-equipped to receive deportees, prompting some to seek refuge in Trinidad and Tobago. He raised concerns about pressure on jobs, housing, education, and healthcare. With reduced U.S. aid and a weakened humanitarian network, Gonzalez urged urgent dialogue with the U.S. to manage the looming migration challenge. And that was your news in 90 seconds. Right, so we're heading straight over to our birthdays. I know it's everyone's favorite part of the morning. So, team, who do we have up first for our birthday segment? First up, we have Kemba Phillips. A happy birthday to you. God's richest blessings to you. It is rainy, but it is cool. A happy birthday to you from our Tobago Updates family. Next up, we have Celine Baker, and I'm going to read this message in verbatim coming from Auntie Adana. Happy birthday from Auntie Adana and the youths of Victorious Generation and the family of Victory Outreach Church. We love you and we pray God continues to keep you and bless you and make his favor shine upon you. Now, happy birthday to you, Celine Baker. Next up, we have Kiyomi Perry Batiste. With that lovely sweet smile of yours and that bright sun radiating on your skin, I really do hope that you enjoy your birthday today and that it's bright as the sun and your smile today. Last but not least, Xavier Edwards. Well, we know him as the smoothie guy just at the corner of Pigeon Point there. So a happy birthday to you, to this music man, to this lovely music artist. I hope that your birthday is musical, it's vibrant, just like the vibes that you give off. So a happy birthday to you from the Youth Wednesday, by extension, Tobago Updates family. And for those of you who may not have made it onto a birthday segment this morning, I pray that you have a happy birthday. I hope that God's richest blessings touches you throughout the day. I hope that you have an excellent day despite having to go to work. It's a new day, you have life, and you have a new year to look forward to. So happy birthday to you all. So for our rundown this morning, we have a lot happening in this space. But we here at Tobago Updates bring you that news first. We bring you that everything first, I should say, right? So first up, we'll have Anisha Hazelup James, CEO of LCJ Delights. She'll be speaking to us on International Tea Day. Then we'll have Aviana Allen, CEO of Team Elevate, reading and storytelling and tutoring. Stay tuned for that. And of course, last but not least, Cliff Eli, designer and tailor, talking to us on TFC7, right? So we have all of these things happening for you on Tobago Updates here at Youth Wednesdays specifically, right? So I ask you to stay tuned and share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
Do you think you know Premier League or Champions League football? What about international cricket or the IPL and CPL? How about NBA basketball? Well, now you can put your skills to work to earn some extra cash by betting on the games with TT Bet Arena. Simply go to our website, choose a sport you want to bet on, find the games and place your bets. And with your computer or mobile device, you can bet from anywhere. Just go to ttbetarena.com, sign up for a free account, make a deposit, and start betting. It's that simple. You can even qualify for our $2,000 sign-up bonus. We also have horse racing, plus live casino games where you can bet using TT dollars. And check our new Tobago location at 7B Milford Road, Crown Point. For more info, call or WhatsApp 494-0634. TT Bet Arena, the #1 sports betting company in Trinidad and Tobago.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
Courts is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Courts Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Courts Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago. So it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's week in review right here on 116.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates Morning Show. You bring us here live in Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago. I'm your favorite youth host, and I know you missed me just a short while ago, but don't be afraid. I'm here now. I am here now. So a special good morning to all our ardent viewers all around the world, whether you bring us on YouTube, 102 on AMPLIA. Just a bit of a tongue twister. Don't laugh me. Right, we have a very special guest here with us this morning in the name of Mrs. Anisha Hislop James, CEO of LCJ Delights, and she will be coming to talk with us about the tea. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Of course, it's always a pleasure. When I sat with you just before the interview, you seem very relaxed and calm. I had to mention that you might have done this many times.
Yes, I have.
But you seem to be not a stranger to Tobago Updates this morning. But before we get into that,
yes,
do tell the viewers about yourself and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Mrs. Anisha Hislop James, and I am part owner of LCJ Delights. It's a partnership business between myself and my husband, Mr. Larry James.
Right, we're promoting family business in 2025, guys.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right, so the business has been in existence since 2016. We started off doing mixed nuts products, and then we began to branch out into doing teas as well as provision flour and provision flour products as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yes.
That's a conglomerate you have there. Well, what inspired you to get into teas, though? And we're not talking about the body is tea, right?
No.
But we can get there using teas, yes? But just tell us where you got into the business of making tea.
All right. So, being a college student, I'm traveling between Trinidad and Tobago for
University
several years.
of the West Indies?
University of the Southern Caribbean.
Okay. We will take that. Right, Natalia? Yeah, we will take that. Go ahead.
Yes. So, usually when I come home, I'm packed up with all the bush you could think of.
Bush?
Yes. From trumpet bush to
after them,
fever.
the European men bush cut, they go and scrape up the bush and them and carry them over and make tea and give people for drink?
Nope. I usually come home to get my fill of Tobago stuff to go back to Trinidad.
But what are some of those things that, traditionally, we would call bush tea? The bush tea is at the core of the Tobago breakfast. Is always a part of our palate.
Yes.
Morning, noon, and night. We're sick, we drink tea. We're tired, we drink tea.
Exactly.
Bush tea.
Yes, bush tea. So you're talking like trumpet bush, we're talking about fever grass,
right.
We're talking about vervain, greater wood, you just name it, shine bush, the full works.
Yeah. So, we have a misconception about teas on the island, and I'm talking about when you get up in the morning, you go to the kitchen and you smell that chocolate, right? Is chocolate milk considered tea by the very definition of the word?
No, it's not, because it's more or less like kind of like a milk. It's more like a milk drink, a hot milk drink. It's not really tea, because actually tea is supposed to be the tea plant. All right, where you get the black tea and the green teas and stuff. What we actually have here in the Caribbean, I believe some places probably does have the tea plant, but what we refer to as tea is actually herbal infusions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Little education there. So guys, we probably need to move away. You know what? Keep it as part of our culture, man. But just go away with the idea that the definition of tea derives from the tea plant, and we use different, brews, as you would say, where you place leaves into and herbs into a hot mixture.
Yes.
To steep.
Yes.
I recently learned that word.
Yes.
Just about 3 years ago.
Wow.
You know, I used to say like draw.
We always learn.
Yeah, we use that word draw. But but yes, you go ahead.
Yes. So basically, we have a number of infusions here on the island, and we have some things, well, at least for LCJ Delights, we more or less capitalized on the fact that, we wanted to make herbal teas more convenient for people to use, because having to go to Trinidad with a whole bunch of orange peel in a bag and trumpet bush in our next bag, after a while it kind of get a little cumbersome. And then I saw my mom, she was doing like moringa powder, and so I said, Mommy, why don't you put it into tea bag? And so I ordered some empty tea bags online. I gave it to her. She never used it. She said, "Yeah, listen, this is your thing. You go and use the tea bags to make tea." And that's how it started. So I experimented firstly with orange peel.
Wow.
All right, so orange peel and bay leaf, orange peel and cinnamon. My husband, he jumped in. He said, "Add some cinnamon, add this, create some new blends with the fever grass, etc."
Watch now. What is your favorite tea? And I want to give you a story after you mentioned about your favorite tea, about episode I had with Moringa, but you go ahead.
Right. Well, my favorite tea, I don't even know what to tell you, because all of them I love. I love the sorrel bay leaf. It gives
sorrel bay leaf?
Yes, it gives that kind of
sorrel
fruity,
and bay
warm
leaf?
fruit. Yes, yes.
Wow.
Infused with bay leaf, yes. It gives that nice fruity flavor. I love the cocoa shell bay leaf. So on mornings when I really don't have time to grate the cocoa ball to make traditional chocolate tea, we have this, what is called the cocoa shell bay leaf tea. So that's like a chocolate tea in a tea bag.
Wow.
So I love that. I love my turmeric ginger.
Turmeric and ginger.
Yes.
I don't like the smell of turmeric. I love the smell of ginger and the taste of it.
Yes.
Especially when it's brewed. But interesting blend.
Yes.
But one of my favorite brews that I've had in 2020 was I visited my aunt in Richmond Point, and she had bay leaf, she had, I think, fever grass, she had bay leaf and ginger and garlic mixed together.
Wow.
Watching if you taste how nice that thing is.
I could imagine.
Yeah, it's real
I could
nice.
only
Bro. I was
imagine.
like, wow.
Yep.
But I tried to get it, but So the episode I had with Moringa was that in 2020 again.
Right.
My cousin has a moringa tree in the back of a big one.
Right.
And he brought the pods and asked me to taste it, and it was really bitter.
Yes.
But he made a brew in the morning, had a big cup of moringa. I couldn't go off for days.
Wow.
Yeah, because of the, moringa is high in iron.
Yes, it is.
And, iron is a water-soluble mineral where you need a lot of water to kind of, think it through the system and so on. But perhaps I didn't drink enough water, but I did not know that moringa has such a strong effect on your body as it pertains to iron.
Yes.
But what are some of the benefits of tea, of drinking some of your brews? What are some of your benefits?
All right, so we have a variety of teas and different health issues that they may be able to target. Right. So like the turmeric blends, turmeric bay leaf, turmeric ginger, they tend to target like inflammatory issues.
Right.
All right, so like respiratory issues and that kind of thing.
Right.
What I've done some research, also knowing that, some of the teas we kind of grew up knowing what they're good for. So like Greater Wood, we accustomed drinking that for cold.
Right.
And then I recently realized that Greater Wood is great for brain health. For memory, I didn't know. I realized that like a year ago. I did some research and I'm like, hey, okay, interesting. So the cocoa shell bay leaf, which I love so much, it has a calming effect. All right. And it's also good for the skin. All right. The sorrel bay leaf, sorrel ginger, very high in antioxidants. So usually when I feel like I'm coming on with the flu, yes, I will probably have the sorrel ginger, but I might throw in a couple other tea bags to create a bomb, as we call it, to knock that feeling out. A concoction.
All right. I have never seen teas, packaged this way.
Okay.
what went behind the packaging, and what is the cost of your of a packet like that, I would say?
Okay. So the reason why we went with this packaging is because the logistics to get the regular box, it's kind of a lot for a small business. Yeah, it's kind of tedious. And instead of having each tea wrapped individually, I said, you know what, let's do a pouch that could be resealable. You understand? Because I think my experience with probably one of the other companies that we know of popularly, they do not have some of the tea bags wrapped individually, and sometimes, to me, this feels cumbersome, and it's exposed to anything in the elements and stuff. So to have it in a nice, tight, sealed, resealable pouch, I think was excellent, and it stands out on the shelf for me. I personally think
that is why I said I have never seen one package like that. If I were to purchase one packet, how many mornings?
Right.
You have to think by the morning.
Yes.
Right?
I would say one pack will give you about 30 mornings.
30 mornings.
Roughly. Yeah, because there are 10 tea bags in each pouch.
Okay.
But each tea bag, well, probably more, yeah? But each tea bag, it can be steeped multiple times because it's strong. It's not a weak tea. It's not weak. They're strong.
Yeah. The tea not weak. The tea not weak.
They're strong tea. Yeah. So you could last you an entire month or more, depending on how you use it.
Wow, you can't dare re-steep the traditional tea bag.
Nah, not really, no.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Hardly.
The bag will bust on you.
Yep.
So what are some of your most popular
popularities? All right, so on the market, the turmeric ginger is number one. Okay. That is the most sought after, and behind that is the moringa ginger and the cocoa shell bay leaf.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what would a pack go for?
We have different prices. So like the turmeric ginger, I call it Mr. Turmeric and Ginger. That is like $36.
Right.
The ginger blends, the other ginger blends are $27. The non-ginger blends like the turmeric bay leaf and the sorrel bay leaf, they will go for like $26. And the single flavors, we like the greater wood, etc., they would go for like $25.
Can I ask you something though? Business.
Yes.
You're into business.
Yeah.
It just popped in my mind. Do you grow a lot of the things that you package into your tea? And do you have any interest in doing that? Because it will drive costs down to a degree, a great degree. You get to control what you put in your thing in terms of pesticides and so on. More organic stuff.
Yes. Right. Some of the products, the raw material, we source it from persons that we know personally. Right. I've planted a bay leaf 3 years ago. It's looking great. I'm using from it right now.
Yes. Love that for you. Love that for you.
Right. We also have access to moringa trees, family again. In terms of the ginger, I purchased from local vendors, local farmers, including my dad and my brother who planted ginger. They do plant ginger.
But that's good. It's in a family.
It's in the family. Yes.
Listen, family do underestimate family business.
Correct.
Because it has a longevity to it, and I hope you well. I'm not sure if you have children, but I hope that this would be a part of your legacy to them.
Yes.
Right? Because come on, Tobago black people had to strive. Every ghetto youth were rich,
I agree.
You understand? So I hope a part of your business model you incorporate this, and you sell yourself regionally and internationally as well.
Yes, we do.
Because we have a diaspora out in these United States, Canada, the UK. Yes. So
we actually do have an online store, and we do get orders from Canada.
That is real good. That is real good.
As far as the Netherlands.
So I could go online with my credit card
and purchase, and it's shipped to you.
So where can we find this online e-commerce center?
It's on the shopkarib.com website. It's like a local Amazon kind of thing. Yes. So once you go there, go to the Tobago Pavilion and look for LCJ Delights store.
It has a Tobago Pavilion.
That's right, correct.
We did not even know this.
Yes.
Thank you for gracing us with your presence, I guess. Yes. I had a few more questions, but in excitement, it just came out of my mind. But I like what I'm seeing. It's quite innovative, and it embodies the Tobago richness. But you are here also because you're celebrating International TD.
Correct.
Is that even a thing?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yes, it is.
So just tell us about that and what your business intends to do in commemoration of that day.
All right, so International Tea Day, we usually celebrate it with a sale every single year.
Okay.
Right, so if you come to our store at Signal Hill Micro Enterprise Center today until the 24th of May, you can purchase the teas at the wholesale price. On the online store, all teas are 10% off as well. And we will be doing some pop-up tea samplings at different groceries throughout the week as well. So you can look out for us.
So guys, you heard it yourself. You know, at Tobago, love a good sale.
That's right.
People love a good sale. So all of those sleep on this sale, this sale, man. I nearly say steep. All right, but you know, I love what you're doing. But have you ever been to any trade conventions?
We have been to the TIC 2 years ago.
Okay.
And we're hoping to be there this year again. So yes.
All right, well, that's good. That's good. That's good. There are so many things that I could ask you this morning. You know, what is next for tea? What is your next biggest brew? Oh, I remember the question I wanted to ask you. Right. We discussed this just before coming on set this morning. What are your thoughts on the weed leaf tea? Right. No, the reason I'm asking is because I did some research myself. I just want to hear your view. And you did share that you're a Christian, right?
Yes, correct.
What is your view on drinking the leaves, right? You know, on our mornings.
Right. Okay. Well, as a Christian, the Word of God says that the herbs are for the healing of the nation.
Hallelujah.
At the end of the day, any herb that you drink, you have to have it in moderation. You can't overdo it. In terms of the weed plant, what is used for, you know, the smoking and that kind of thing is usually the pods. All right. The leaves, however, is great for, based on research, is good for skin issues. All right. It's excellent for respiratory issues like asthma and that kind of thing.
You'd be surprised.
There have been research that shows that elements of the leaves also are great for fighting cancer.
It is.
All right. So as much as, you know, there are laws governing
the
usage of it.
Every adult is entitled to about 4 plants.
Yeah, 4 plants. Yeah. Right. And I think 40 grams of the resin. 30,
yeah. You know, we hope that the new Prime Minister gives some consideration to licensing. No, because it's a lucrative business, and if we can incorporate that into our medicine, right, and our palliative care and all them kind of things, it would do a great for our nation. And I also learned in my research that it's good for the brain, it's good for you know, memory,
the nervous system.
Nervous system. You know, for those who have, you know, sexual issues, you know, it helps, you know. So I'm getting the wrap up from my producer. I don't think he understands that I'm enjoying this interview. So guys, you know, I hope that is something that you would also add to your.
Once we could get licensing for it, because you know, we can't have above a certain amount, and to produce a pack, we'll have to get.
You may not want to do it in a pack
that'll be problems.
You know? But it's something that you may want to consider for the future. You know, and ginkgo biloba as well. You know. So I want to thank you so much for joining us. Just rehash with for our viewers, when is your sale in commemoration with International Tea Day? You know, where we could find a page and your stores and your products.
All right. So International Tea Day sale. We have all the teas at the store at the wholesale price. On our online store, 10% off on all teas. We also have pop-ups taking place in terms of tea sampling. The sale runs from today until the 24th of May 2025. I did mention this, but we also have an event coming up as well. SIP Art and Fun with
sipping the tea.
With One Love Arts, where we doing we're gonna be sipping tea, juice, whether it's iced tea, brewed tea, and painting stuff, you know, making jewelry and that kind of thing. Next week Friday. So you can look out on our pages for the advertisement for that as well. We have a store up at Signal Hill, as I mentioned. We have an online store at shopcarib.com. You can find our teas and other products at major supermarkets here in Tobago and also in Trinidad.
All right, guys, you heard it here yourself. Well, thank you for joining us this morning, Mrs. James, you know, CEO or co-CEO of LCJ Delights, bringing to us her teas, her different brews, in commemoration with International Tea Day. Up next, we have Avian Allen, and we will go and take a short break and come right back to her. But remember to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
A dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam. You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest. We protect. Everyone benefits.
Do you think you know Premier League or Champions League football? What about international cricket or the IPL and CPL? How about NBA basketball? Well, now you can put your skills to work to earn some extra cash by betting on the games with TT Bet Arena. Simply go to our website, choose a sport you want to bet on, find the games and place your bets. And with your computer or mobile device, you can bet from anywhere. Just go to ttbetarena.com, sign up for a free account, make a deposit, and start betting. It's that simple. You can even qualify for our $2,000 sign-up bonus. We also have horse racing, plus live casino games where you can bet using TT dollars. And check our new Tobago location at 7B Milford Road, Crown Point. For more info, call or WhatsApp 494-0634. TT Bet Arena, the #1 sports betting company in Trinidad and Tobago.
Tobago, this is your chance to lock in the brunch experience of the summer. Sun up.
Real bad girl get nasty.
The brunch inclusive edition, the ultimate party in the East, where vibrant flavors, refreshing cocktails, and electrifying vibes collide. It's happening on Saturday, July 5th from 3 p.m. at Deltec Compound, Argyle. Bring your coolers, bring your crew, and brunch, sip, and vibe in style. This is the flavorful escape you've been waiting for. Grab your tickets now at Barcode, Pablo Supermarket, Lost Restaurant and Lounge, Deltec Compound, and committee members. Sun up! It's more than a brunch, it's an experience.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Spring. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
And we are back here on Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates, bringing you the latest in education, I should say. I'm just inviting, thankful that Miss Aviana Allen is here with us. She's the head tutor and CEO of Team Elevate. So good morning to you, Miss Allen.
Good morning to you and good morning to all of Tobago.
All right, so you know I have to get used to saying Miss Allen because she is the head tutor. You are speaking to, I don't want to say the biggest and the baddest. That's wrong, right? Because I don't think, and Miss Baddest is not a word.
It's not.
It's not a word. So I will not be using that word, but I'm here speaking to one of the best, who is from Team Elevate, who is the head, who is the CEO of Team Elevate. So Aviana, who is Team Elevate?
So Team Elevate is an English institution for SEA and SEA creative writing, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
And we are now launching into something called the late school, which we will delve further into in this segment. Now, at Team Elevate, the reason why I specifically chose the name for this organization is because we at Team Elevate, we foster a sense of team, camaraderie, and brotherhood and sisterhood. What I try to instill in my students is that it's not a competition. We are all here to achieve the same goal. Your strength, somebody's weakness. Your weakness, somebody's strength. So work on each other's strengths and weakness and help each other, because at the end of the day, we are all here for the same goal and the same purpose. So which is why I think that it is important that we hone in on those particular characteristics. And while I was formulating Team Elevate, that is something I really wanted to set apart my educational institution apart from the rest.
All right, so you just piqued my interest. You said that it's a teamwork initiative, as in someone else's strengths, maybe someone else's weakness.
Most definitely.
What type of structure do you have for your classroom? How does your tutoring go?
Okay, so I have online and I have in-person classes. So online would be for persons who, because of their hectic schedules, especially for SCA students, we know that they have a lot of classes throughout the week. So during the weekends might be their only free time or downtime that they may be able to, have that class. So that's online, that's one aspect. I also offer physical classes to persons, especially those who are in standard 4, who are not quite there yet, who may have a little bit more leeway where time is concerned, so that they can have that in-person class. So online and in person.
All right, so you touched on the late school. And of course, Team Elevate already has established those C classes. You mentioned that they can start from standard 4.
Yes.
What is actually the earliest time that the C students could start? And what ages do you cater to for the late school?
All right. So we're going to start off with the SEA. So standard 4, you're about age 10. So I would say age 10 to 12 for SEA classes. And for the late school is specifically geared towards persons who has just finished high school or you're an adult. I'm just going to be honest. Sometimes life doesn't just go the way that you want it to. So it's just a second chance at life. And the reason why I initiated or I conceptualized the late school, because I felt that, apart from having a second chance, most persons, they believe that, okay, while I was in high school, that, due to whatever circumstances would have happened, I may not have gotten CSEC English A. But because of the ad that I have put out, I must say that I have to applaud persons, because it takes growth and maturity and accountability to know that, okay, I did not attain my CSEC English A, and now I am making the amends to get my CSEC English A to help me to advance to that later stage in life. So whether it be job elevation, to get to university, to enter a course, to do whatever it is. So that's basically what Team Elevate is about. And also with late school, it's online. And the reason why I specifically chose online, because during 8 to 4, most adults, we have to work. We have to take care of our kids. We have to do all the things that life has thrown at us. And after doing all of that, you know, the late school would obviously be at night. So if you know that the late school is at night, you know that you will set up your schedule in such a way, okay, I know I have the late school at, let's say, just giving like a example time, 8 p.m. I get home from work, take a cute little nap, do what I need to do, and get myself ready for the late school. So it's specifically online, so you don't have to leave your house. You can throw your eye on your kids. You can cook dinner if you need to. You can do everything that you need to without leaving the house. If you're working a shift job, you're at the grocery, you could put in your headphones, you could use whatever device you're using and you can be tuned in. You can even be on your bed, the comfort of your home, tuning in to and learning English A, which is why I specifically chose for it to be online.
Okay. All right. So in terms of how long would one have to study for English A? How long would the late school cater to that person for them to have to do the exam in May or June or January?
Okay. So I'm glad that you mentioned that point. So some persons would want to do the exam in January and some would want to do it in June. But for some persons who would have been out of the educational limelight for like 20 plus years, I would highly recommend them to not rush and try to do it in January because it's like a learning curve. So I would recommend them to take their time and to aspire for June. Now, if there is something that you need to accomplish or there's a course or there's something that you need to do that's time specific or has a time constraint, then I would recommend January. But with January, that means that you have to apply the pressure. So yes, that's basically my advice to persons who would be doing exams in May or June. So you have to know exactly what goal that you want to attain, and you have to be realistic with yourself as well. You have to be realistic with yourself.
All right. So what are some of the accomplishments that Team Elevate has accomplished? I mean, you're saying that you cater to C students to help them get ready for the C exam that happens around
March, April. So it depends on where the term falls.
Right. So what are some of the accomplishments? What are your statistics like? How many passes have you gotten through the C students that you have tutored?
So I don't want to toot my own horn, but I've always had 100% pass rate.
Okay.
I've always had 100% pass rate.
So we're talking like top schools, second choices?
Top schools, second choices, yes.
So you have had 100% pass
100%. That's sticking it into that camera. Parents, 100% pass rate.
All right. Okay, so you said that you're going to introduce the late school. Now she's also introducing the English A scholarship. So could you tell us a little bit about that?
So for me, I'm a bit of an empath.
Okay.
And I know that life can be challenging at times financially. So I've introduced the late school scholarship for two target audiences. One, for a young person who would have just finished high school, and the other scholarship would be for somebody, an older person, probably like 40s, 50s, an older person, right? So the parameters of the scholarships are, you have to be underprivileged. You have to have a genuine key interest in wanting to learn English A. You have to be committed.
When you say underprivileged, could you just highlight what underprivileged would mean?
So in this sense, underprivileged would mean like you don't have the finances to pursue the course.
All right.
That's basically what I mean by underprivileged. But the thing is, I don't choose the persons for the scholarship. So I leave it up to the public, to social media, to nominate persons for the scholarship. So, with that being said, nominate, nominate, nominate. And if you feel like you personally want to reach out to me, you can send me a private message and, you know, just explain to me, you know, why you think that you should get this scholarship and stuff like that. I am very open, I'm very understanding. So, sign up. But the deadline for the scholarship is May 30th.
All right. Okay, and who is allowed to be a part of Team Elevate? I know you mentioned, you know, Standard 4, but now you're introducing the late school. And of course, you do have the scholarship. But in terms of the invitation to the general public, who is allowed to be a part of Team Elevate?
Right. So Team Elevate comprises of 2 components. SCA Creative Writing and now the late school. So SCA Creative Writing for standards 4 and 5 and the late school is specifically for adult learners.
All right. Okay, and where can we find more information on Team Elevate?
So you can find more information on Team Elevate at Aviana Allen on Facebook, Aviana Christie on TikTok, and Aviana Christie on Instagram.
All right. So thank you so much, Miss Allen. Miss Aviana Allen, for being with us here this morning, for telling us a little bit about Team Elevate. As Aviana said, you know, this is now your chance to get back into the education mode. This is your chance to, you know, get that English A1 that you were desiring in high school. This is your time to come and get ready for the C exam. I know it just finished. C exams are just up, but we have C exams happening again next year. So this is your time to get your child ready for those exams through Team Elevate. All right, and she's asking you, as the English A scholarship comes up, to nominate. I'm just repeating what Miss Allen says.
And Natalia, can I interject? There's also a scholarship for the SCA students as well. So I try to, with every target audience that I deal with, I tend to have scholarships for them because I understand the struggle. I really do. And I empathize with parents for trying hard. And if I could make someone else's life a little bit easier, then I know that I would have done my job.
All right. So this was Miss Allen, very willing to share the education on to others, that which she is well versed in. She is ready to share that English A, that C exam knowledge with you so that you will be able to pass your exams. So once again, thank you, Miss Allen, for being with us here this morning.
Can I just say something to the camera?
Sure, no problem.
So I just want to say, don't be dismayed by what has happened in the past. By reaching out to Team Elevate, you have showed that you are ready, that you are committed, and that you have matured. Life offers second chances. So take that second chance and go with it. Go with God and keep your head held high. Also, this is a call for corporate sponsors, B-Mobile, TSTT, Prestige Holdings. You can collaborate with Team Elevate. We are all here to, you know, help advance literacy on the island and also to help students, underprivileged students who may not have that advantage to pursue or to have that extra help when it comes to SCA creative writing and language arts.
All right, good advice coming from Team Elevate. Some encouragement to some sponsors to join Team Elevate on their journey, right? So viewers who are still with us, I ask you to share the live. But before I go, I think this has become, you know, this really special time on Tobago Updates where we bring to you the picture of the day. The picture of the day, it comes from Mr. Let me get that name properly so that I give him the credit, Marvin Clark. Now, you know what we do? We show you that beautiful, picturesque area in Tobago, and you tell us where in Tobago we can go to enjoy this scenery, right? So at the end of our show, you'll just, talk to us via the live chat, make your guesses as to where this beautiful place is, this scenic place is. Thank you, Marvin Clark, for submitting your photo this morning. Thank you for our photo of the day. Viewers, it's up to you to guess the right answer, and we'll announce it at the end of our show. So again, share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning.
With Flow Business's new smart solutions powered by super fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
Do you think you know Premier League or Champions League football? What about international cricket or the IPL and CPL? How about NBA basketball? Well, now you can put your skills to work to earn some extra cash by betting on the games with TT Bet Arena. Simply go to our website, choose a sport you want to bet on, find the games and place your bets. And with your computer or mobile device, you can bet from anywhere. Just go to ttbetarena.com, sign up for a free account, make a deposit, and start betting. It's that simple. You can even qualify for our $2,000 sign-up bonus. We also have horse racing, plus live casino games where you can bet using TT dollars. And check our new Tobago location at 7B Milford Road, Crown Point. For more info, call or WhatsApp 494-0634. TT Bet Arena, the #1 sports betting company in Trinidad and Tobago.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme.
Well, I want a proper window for me house, yeah? I want no shake thing in my place.
Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces.
We get one wall on the side and we get one hole. You can put a window there, invent something, a window for put there.
At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style.
Well, me meet ya. Me don't know who I'm talking to, but I cousin Tofina tell me for call all you go get proper thing for put there. Me don't know.
Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining ours as a family-owned business.
Driven? No, I ain't driving. I get a bus ticket. One of me pick me, them go drop me down there. Must bring me down there. Russo Trace Springer down by the page down there.
Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about product, about relationships. It's about you.
It's all about me? Who's your family? You know Edna and Dorka and them, you know them, but you resemble them Edward boy and them Edward people, them you.
Tobago Glass Supplies, Russo Trace Spring Garden, telephone number 639-6266. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Tobago. This is your chance to lock in the brunch experience of the summer. Sun up.
Real bad girl, get nasty.
The brunch inclusive edition, the ultimate party in the East, where vibrant flavors, refreshing cocktails, and electrifying vibes collide. It's happening on Saturday, July 5th from 3 p.m. at Deltec Compound, Argyle. Bring your coolers, bring your crew, and brunch, sip, and vibe in style. This is the flavorful escape you've been waiting for. Grab your tickets now at Barcode, Harblow Supermarket, Lost Restaurant and Lounge, Deltec Compound, and committee members. Sun up. It's more than a brunch. It's an experience.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to Youth Wednesdays on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We have but some sad news for you guys, but you know we're gonna counter that with some, you know, with our presence here this morning. You know, our interview for one reason or the other could not make it this morning. We hope, you know, that interviewee is okay, right? So we will be talking with you this morning. But did they post the photo of the day as yet?
Yes, they did.
Oh, so they'll let you do it because I just come a little bit after you?
No, I think in response to the submitted rundown, I was the one who was, you know, able to give the photo of the day. I don't think it was a bias.
Yeah, sure.
We could give you a chance at the second interviews.
We could give me a chance.
Yeah.
Not that there will be a chance for us both.
We are a Tobago Update family. I mean, it's a decision that we can come to together. I feel like the black sheep inside here, no pun intended. I mean, Dwayne, okay. All right, so let's talk. Let's talk about the photo of the day. Let's bring that photo up, guys. So, Dwayne, where do you think this is? Because, Dwayne, I mentioned where I know it is, but Dwayne told me that I could be wrong.
Yes.
So, Dwayne, where do you think this is?
This looks like it is in St. Lucia.
Dwayne, this is the photo of the day in Tobago.
So, why Tobago can be in St. Lucia?
Because Tobago is Tobago and St. Lucia is St. Lucia. As an interviewer, there are no stupid questions. I have to ask that question. I have to answer correctly.
Do you know that there's Grenada Hill in Belgarden?
I mean, does this look like Grenada Hill?
Yes.
You know, if you told me something like, you know, Charlottesville Jetty or something like that, something that's very, something that's very similar.
This looks like Pigeon Point.
Yes, it is.
Either sunrise or sunset. This looks like dusk though.
This is definitely.
Yes, it's sunset.
Dusk. Yeah, this is a sunset.
Because the sun is rising in the east. It sets in the west.
Sets in the west. Oh.
Yeah.
I can tell that Dwayne does sing his hymns. Yes.
Right.
Sun in the east, sets in the west. All right. So thank you, Dwayne, for that answer. It is the Pigeon Point Jetty. I mean, we know how that jetty looks, but we want to thank Marvin Clark for submitting such a beauty, Pigeon Point Jetty in its beauty at sunset. I mean, that the sun in the back. Could you imagine being on that jetty and witnessing a sunset like that, Dwayne?
Yeah, you know, I've actually been at the Swallows, parked up my car at just in front of the beach on the sand, and watched the sun just incrementally go down.
Right.
That burnt orange in the distance is picturesque. I really love it. You know, yeah. I tried to capture it, but the iPhone must be outdated. You understand?
No, it's not. But
I'm just talking about my iPhone. It's outdated. I wouldn't call the number.
You know, we won't get into that because there is a possibility my number is lower than yours. But we'll leave it alone, right? I don't want anybody to steal my spot. But normally in Crown Point, Pigeon Point area, looking at that sunset on an evening,
Yes.
it is beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm telling you, seeing the planes coming, that in itself is just a picture to hold in your mind. So I mean, if the iPhone doesn't work, whatever number it may be, try to picture that and keep that memory lodged. You know, those are things that you can remember.
As you're talking about that, right? I'm all for development.
Yes.
And tourism is one of my babies. You know, in terms of discussions. And
I think it should be every Tobagonian's baby.
You know.
Yes.
I always imagine or envisage Pigeon Point having some nice condos, not cutting on any trees, have them, nicely nestled. Yes,
but I think there are condos down there.
Yeah, but they're kind of outdated. You know what I mean?
Dwayne.
Glass, in some nice glass, and they need to be on a height so that you could see it.
I think I get what you're saying, but the condos aren't too far from the jetty, so it's just a simple walk.
Listen, you see, when you're accommodation,
right,
you have to be able to walk out and see and hear everything. You can't be, you have to capitalize on the, we live in a era where everything has to be posted. Imagine you're walking. You pull your curtain or your blinds, and your big glass window with your glass balcony.
So what I'm hearing here is not that he's saying it's outdated, but this is what you'd like to see as a customer visiting the Pigeon Point area.
I would more say a patron.
A patron, right? I mean, everybody loves Pigeon Point.
Yeah.
Pigeon Point has a lot to offer. We enjoyed a lot of festivals down there. Aside from that, there is the beach. There is a lot of things to enjoy in Pigeon Point. So if there are any, I don't want to say tourists, if there are any frequent visitors that are watching with us this morning, remember to visit Pigeon Point, and especially this picturesque place where Marvin Clark captured, and that is the Pigeon Point Jetty. To view the sunset. And maybe you could drop in the suggestion box Dwayne's suggestion of having glass condos. I mean, anything is possible.
Yes.
Pigeon Point has been in one era and has been able to develop into different eras. So we're going with Dwayne on those glass condos. I'd like to see
I'll talk to the management and staff down there and see if they will, be amenable to my idea.
I think they would. I think they would.
I mean, we don't have to always do it ourselves.
Right.
We could have a public-private partnership model. You could invite investors.
It's a discussion that we could have. There are new things looming everywhere.
But of course, ensuring that you preserve the tradition in terms of usage for Tobagonians, for visitors. You don't want to take that away because it's a key element to our thing. But I believe that adding those key elements could kind of add to the product that is Pigeon Point.
These discussions could only happen on Youth Wednesdays. All right, so viewers, thank you so much for joining us here on our morning show on Youth Wednesdays. These were your favorite morning hosts, that is Dwayne Nurse and Natalia Nancis. We were very happy to be with you this morning. Certainly happy to be with you this morning.
I do apologize for being late though. However, I know you could handle yourself, and when I come on stream, you lay the carpet for me already, and I appreciate that very much. No,
it's always a pleasure, but I like you with me on mornings, so I hope there is no apology next week. Viewers, we're keeping him to this, right?
Wow.
All right. So
viewers, when she didn't make it up a particular morning, I didn't rant. I went along with it, and I didn't complain. But Weez, man. But the producer is giving us the wrap up, but we want to tell them to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Up next, we have GMT with Miss Chanel Felix.
Chanel Felix.
The Tobago Fashion First event was conceptualized in 2024 by the Tobago Day Planning Committee. We wanted to introduce a new event into the calendar while at the same time creating something of real substance. We also aimed to create a platform for Tobago's immensely talented designers. Welcome to Tobago Fashion First and enjoy Tobago's Fashion First.
This event was designed as a launch platform for our fashion industry, a space to bring to light the remarkable talent and creativity of Tobago's designers, to place their names and brands into the public spotlight, and to say to the world, Tobago has what it takes. The opulence we witness tonight is all Tobago, by Tobagonians, for the world. Our designers and models are not simply participants in the fashion industry, they are contenders. And with the right support, they can stand proudly among and even rival the most celebrated figures in the global fashion scene. Tobago is here. We are bold, we are brilliant, and we are ready to take our place on the world stage.
When the mountains rise before me, I believe I can feel it on. I will follow the path if you lead me. Just don't let go. If I promise you'll feel it always, tell me why you had to lie. I would hold on to it forever. You need to try and never be the same. I'm sorry, feeling alone. Always been lonely on your own. Just say I'm sorry. Just say I'm sorry. Just say I'm sorry. Just say I'm sorry. When a morning sky surrounds me, I believe I can see your light. I will reach for riches, guide me, hold me tight. If I promise you'll feel it only, show me how to make this right. I will get away feeling lonely through the night.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
It's a brand new morning. Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago, right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Chanel Felix. And you know, whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting topics and conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. Recent ministerial appointments reflect strategic adjustments within the government. Finance Minister Devendranath Thakur was appointed Acting Minister of Planning, Economic Affairs and Development during Kennedy Swarat Singh's absence from May 14th. Effective May 15th, Thakur also named Minister in the ministry. Meanwhile, Swarat Singh, the Substantive Planning Minister, was appointed Minister in the Ministry of Finance on May 13th. Both appointments were published in the Gazette. Additionally, Winfrey Nichols Morris was formally named Parliamentary Secretary in the office of the Prime Minister, following his May 3rd appointment to a similar role in Foreign CARICOM affairs. Additionally, Defense Minister Wayne Sturge has approved limited media access for Jamaican dancehall artist Vybz Kartel Adidja Palmer during his upcoming visit to Trinidad and Tobago. While maintaining restrictions on youth interactions, Kartel will be allowed 2 radio interviews during school hours, but denied any school visits, public meet and greets, or TV appearances. Sturge emphasized safeguarding youth from potential harmful messaging while acknowledging Kartel's positive intentions. The artist, freed in 2024 of a murder conviction, supported the restrictions, blaming his promoter for overstepping. Kartel is now set to arrive on May 27th. And finally, Trinidad and Tobago may soon face increased migration from Venezuela following a U.S. Supreme Court decision supporting President Donald Trump's move to revoke temporary protective status for 350,000 migrants. Dr. Anthony Gonzalez, former IIR head at UE, warned that Venezuela is ill-equipped to receive deportees, prompting some to seek refuge in Trinidad and Tobago. He raised concerns about pressure on jobs, housing, education, and healthcare. With reduced U.S. aid and a weak-ended humanitarian network, Gonzalez urged urgent dialogue with the U.S. to manage looming migration challenges. And that was our news in 90 seconds. Guys, this morning we continue our discussions, and this morning I have the privilege of sitting in studio and chatting with Dr. Denise Soyafat Angus, who is the political leader of the IDA and also the former presiding officer of the THA. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Chanel. Good morning to the people of Tobago and wherever you reside.
Right now, it's a pleasure to have you here this morning, especially to share some of your expertise as it relates to your former capacity as presiding officer in the Tobago House of Assembly. Now, the conversation as it pertains to Tobago autonomy is one that is still there, it's still looming. And we heard this current administration saying when they won this last general election that moving forward, the number one item on the agenda or priority list for the 2 Tobago representatives, has and will be to go to Trinidad and secure the Tobago autonomy. Talk to us about where you think we are and what is needed from those 2 representatives as it pertains to securing autonomy for Tobago.
Well, the IDA has always maintained since, the passing of Hojoy, that the Tobago bills are not adequate as they are being presented. I came in here today and I looked around at the number of young people you have in here passing in and out, and I asked myself, how many of them were able to weigh in on those bills? I don't know, Chanel, did you have an opportunity to attend and weigh in? I don't know if you were at the age then to be able to do that, but at least 95% of them, I'm sure, did not have that opportunity. And so what we are looking at is, if this election you had 5,000 new voters coming to the poll, and when you look at the timing of how many voters we've had over time, you're talking about 12 to 15,000 new youth and young adults who should have an interest in this, because we now have shifts in how employment is being laid out in terms of careers, in terms of AI, in terms of the social issues, crime. All of these things impact your views and your experiences and what you would want to see in the Constitution. And so we have always maintained that it is time, before we send something down, that we go back to the people, ensure we entertain the young people, and primarily now the communities. They have a viewpoint that is worth listening to, and we have a responsibility to bring everyone on board, include them, and let's have a real discussion. Times have changed. Political parties have changed, and we need to have that conversation ongoing now.
Right, and even as you are calling for that type of consultation again, what type of feedback are you getting? Because there are the persons who say, well, we have already done years of extensive consultation with the public, but you heard from the Chief Secretary that consultation is still needed. He would have said that when the bill was going before the Parliament. They still want to send persons out to get information from the community. Do you see that type of collaboration happening to ensure that persons do have the opportunity to have a say once more?
But that's not what the current bill says. The current bill says that he's taking it up, sending it to Trinidad, and having the AG review the bill and decide what can be added and not added.
Not sure.
So
but I
that
remember
is what
him
the current, that is what the current motion tomorrow will be debated on. So it's one thing to say you will have consultations, but what is the process that you're using? And the process that you're using is already flawed, because if you're already taking the bills to send it to Trinidad for the AG to review, it's a flawed process. And therefore, he needs to take a step back and really think through what is going on. We have to ask ourselves in the first place, why do we want autonomy? Whether it's autonomy, self-determination, or whatever. Why do we want that as a people? And really, it comes down to development. We want it so that we can, chart a way for a faster development for our island, and I dare say, and the country. Because let us not forget, Tobago is half the country.
Right.
And so whatever we are doing here is not just for ourselves, it's about significantly contributing to the development of the country.
Right. And a development that the people of Tobago can have input on as well.
Correct. And I don't think successive administrations has ever presented the case like that. It's always about, okay, Tobago need 5%, 8%, whatever. But the case has never been presented that, listen, we want this so we could be in a better place to contribute to the development of the country, because we are half the nation. And so when you look at it like that, you begin to get different, pieces coming out of that legislation, which is important to us. If we approve this legislation the way it is, we will always continue to say it's not enough money. It's not enough money.
So
because
you think
it
that
doesn't
this
take
is being
the
done
whole
in an
into
effort
consideration.
to speed up the process, to ensure that the bill is back on the order paper in the Parliament soon?
Yeah, well, it would be a mistake to do that for political expediency. Because you're suffering the people of Tobago just for your own gains. I would hope that the Chief Secretary has a bigger, thought process than that, but it is concerning that this piece of legislation is being sent down as is, and nobody knows what changes have been made or being able to contribute. We have to bring the people into this. And it's also not enough. If we are thinking about the economics of the country, we have to understand that over the last, 60 odd years, our economy has not really grown significantly when you consider the amount of oil and gas we have had passing through this country. And over the last 10 years, it declined by about 23%, even further under a PNM administration. And the people came out in their numbers not to vote for something, but to vote against the pain that they were feeling and the opportunity, hopefully, to get that pain relieved. But we've been here before. And so if we don't consider what is the real driver of our economy and how we get there, we will continue to have very dissatisfied voters, voters who no longer want to vote because you've had a low voter turnout, voters who no longer feel that it's a democratic nation that we live in, and therefore the flip-flopping of administrations but no relief to the economy is what will happen.
Right. And even as it pertains to the input of Tobagonians and understanding where we're going with this Tobago autonomy, why is it so important for the proposals that are being sent to Parliament to be publicized for the people of Tobago to see it and to agree to it at this point?
But it's not just being publicized. You know, we have to actually hear the views, because when you hear the views from the Tobago public, the new Tobago public, you may find that those bills are nothing like what people are talking about, and you have to change it. So you literally have to find ways of engaging persons, the youth, the individual, organizations, and even the diaspora. Because with what is happening out there right now, many of them have to come back home or thinking about coming back home. So they now have to be engaged in what they think is a Tobago they can see inside of the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. But we can't just talk about Tobago's autonomy and the constitutional reform that gives rise to that. We also have to speak to a constitutional reform of the national constitutional reform.
Right.
Because we are so linked that you cannot just treat with Tobago's issue and not treat with the national issue. What do I mean by that? We live in a cabinet-dominant society. That does not augur well for democracy. In other parts of the world, you see where you have parliaments that are much larger than a cabinet and could provide the necessary oversight to ensure that the people's needs are being delivered, that the development of the country is being achieved. But that cannot happen if you don't have the appropriate oversight of the parliament. And what they're attempting to do is do the same thing in Tobago, where you're giving Tobago the opportunity to make laws, but there's no oversight. There's not even a second house in Tobago. There's no oversight of the executive. And we've seen how that has gone for the last 3 years, where people are just doing whatever they want. A minority of one cannot help anything. And therefore, you need that cabinet oversight. You also need for us to determine how do we get a Senate that answers to the people and not a Senate that answers to Parliament. Because the people need to have their voices be heard. It's not being heard right now. And that is why people are just giving up and saying, government come, government goes, it doesn't matter. And that's not good enough for a country to develop without a democracy, because it wouldn't go anywhere. And therefore, you need to have a Senate that is elected and answers to the people. We should have 4 senators from the people of Tobago in Parliament whose responsibility would be to ensure the appropriation budget every year is in place. And not just for Tobago, that you have for Toco, that you have for Princestown. So no area would be complaining that they didn't get enough, because they understand this is about the development of the whole country now.
Right.
And therefore, Tobago should get its allocation. Once you could present your appropriate development plan to the Senate, therefore, you know, you would be getting your appropriate funds to deal with it. Now, there comes a point where Tobago may be very developed, and therefore some of those funds may be taken away and given to maybe Toco or somewhere else. And we're talking about a development budget. We are not talking about a recurrent budget. We're talking about a development budget. Okay? A development is where our issue is right now. We also need to ensure we bring the communities into the picture. Countries across the world are recognizing that no longer that you can just have big governments doing everything. You have to empower the communities and empower them meaningfully, so that young people in communities, why do they have to wait and complain they don't have jobs when there are a whole lot of pavements to be done, box drains to be done in communities and not getting done? If the communities had the wherewithal to do it, they will then decide, okay, we have contractors living here, we are going to employ them, they employ the young people, and the communities begin to work together. When a young person is working on a pavement in their own community, there's a different level of pride and work ethic that comes around, you know. So, again, communities' rights need to be in that so that they are protected. So no matter what political entity we have in Tobago, they can't just decide, okay, well, I'm not giving you any money or, you know, to do whatever. That, you know, communities are protected, they have their rights, and their voices are heard in the Parliament.
And have you written officially to the Chief Secretary asking him about the consultation that you have been proposing for a while?
No. The last time I wrote to him concerning the national security and people should have a seat on the National Security Council, the Chief Secretary did not respond to me except very disrespectfully on a platform in Speyside. So I don't, you know, I don't subscribe to that. Yes?
Understood. Is there any role that the presiding officer can play as it regards to advising the Chief Secretary on the motion as it relates to the Tobago Autonomy Bill and advising that possible consultation be done?
No, the presiding officer can only treat with the intent and the structuring of the motion.
Okay.
Yes? If they have a relationship outside of that, maybe she can, but in the role as presiding officer, you could only deal with the intent and the structuring of the motion. You know, you talk about what have we been doing. You know, we have been meeting with other political leaders expressing our concern with the bill. And I dare say that I am happy that the minority leader has agreed. And I hope that it is not just for political posturing that he disagrees with it. Yeah? Because we do recognize that the, you know, PNM sent down a bill, the same bill, and was attempting to approve it. But I think that he is now beginning to recognize the dangers of the bill and is prepared to look at something differently. Yes? And it is really about all the others and really all the people of Tobago. You know, we ask Tobagonians to take off your political hat.
I'm glad that you mentioned that.
It's about Tobago.
Understood. What role does the actual public have as it pertains to doing the work to put the pressure on this administration to ensure that they include the voices of the people as it pertains to whatever is being sent down to Trinidad on Tobago's behalf?
Again, you bring us back to the fact that the public don't have a voice. There is no way of having a voice in the legislature, and that is why the constitution needs to change. They don't even have a voice in the parliament, because when you send your representatives to Trinidad, you vote for them, but then they don't account to you. They either account to the prime minister or the person who, you know, or the opposition leader, or the person who appointed them to be in the Senate. They are no longer your representatives. And the mere fact that the first thing we have seen is to form the whole cabinet and do a number of things before we open Parliament says to us that the people have a back seat all the time. Yeah, and that is why the constitution needs to change to allow people now to have a voice, to express themselves. You know, in the UK Parliament, when you had that Windrush situation and they were sending home, they wanted to send home droves of people, you then had people approach their representatives and say, hey, if you don't change that, you're not going back there. And they formed petitions, they did everything. And eventually, the UK Parliament was forced to listen.
Right.
Where do we have that role here?
There is a THA election looming on the horizon. Is this not the perfect opportunity for persons to come out and say, okay, we want you to come back to the public and give us the ability to have our say on whatever is submitted to Trinidad on Tobago's behalf?
I'm not sure. You mean go to the THA elections and...
No. I mean, that was the time when people are being vocal about what they want and what they require from their representatives as a THA election is on the horizon. Now they have to go back to the people. They're out there walking in the communities and soliciting votes. Is this not the perfect time for the public?
I think we have to be mature enough to have a proper arrangement to get people's views. We have a situation where this assembly probably employs 80%. It's probably gone up to about 80% of the people, yes, in the workforce. Are you expecting people to go and tell their employer, we don't agree with what you're saying? Yeah? That's not enough. So we need to have a proper arrangement where you call all political parties that entered the general election, you have experts and you form a committee or a task force and you set up getting information from, I said, the youth, the individuals, the organizations, the villages, the communities. Get the information from everyone, collect it and put it together in a format that now then can be debated in the assembly and also then sent to Trinidad after it is approved. When you're doing it like that, you should have no problem with the debate in the assembly because everyone would have been at the table. It is time for us to have some political maturity about this. This is our chance. And it is not enough to be calling people what? Deadbeats. I mean, again, being very disrespectful. Every person who goes to Parliament puts a block for us to climb upon. Whether it is a block that we consider negative or not, a block has been placed. So it is time for us to stop being disrespectful in the space. The elections are over. Let us move forward. Yes? You cannot, those two parliamentarians who have gone to Trinidad, if we truly want the constitutional changes that we want for this autonomy bill, they will have to speak to the PNM. So why do we continue, elections are over. Let us now see how are we building those bridges so we in Tobago can truly get what we want. Because just saying that the government could give you, that is not enough. They may give you an increased percentage, they may give you, you know, whatever. But to get the proper constitutional changes we want, including, let us not forget, spatial definitions of Tobago and Trinidad and even our communities. To get things like that, we have to negotiate with both sides. You don't cuss somebody today and get up tomorrow and say, I'm sorry, but I want this. Yeah, that comes from an abusive relationship.
Totally understood. And moving forward, what are some of the plans of the IDA as it pertains to this Tobago autonomy bill?
We will continue to reach out to the other political parties. We will continue to engage the people in communities. Don't forget that we teamed up with Dr. Vaness James during the Constitution, and we visited more than 15 communities across Tobago to get their views. And so that is why we can speak with conviction now, because we heard the initial views, and all of them, all 15 of them, nobody really said no. They want to have a voice. They want to have the right to do things in their communities. But if we don't set up a process to truly hear them, then we will be losing out terribly with this bill. And so that is why we are going to be going back to the communities. We're going to be talking to, like I said, the other political parties on the island, because this is about Tobago. This is about Tobago's future. And if the Chief Secretary is allowed to just send that bill as is to Trinidad, proper smoke we pipe, we're going to be in the doldrums for the next, 30 odd years, because those bills would not solve the issues that continue to plague us from time immemorial, and it will not help our contribution towards the Trinidad and Tobago economy. Again, I say we are half the country, and it is time that we begin to approach these conversations knowing that we are half the country, and we have a responsibility to develop economically such that we can contribute to the overall growth and development of this of the country, and not just the island.
Excellent. We want to thank you so much, Dr. Angus, for coming in this morning and discussing that with us. I mean, this conversation could go on for a long time, especially as it pertains to some of the detailed proposals that the political parties have and place areas for adjustments that you guys have discussed as you came together and sat among that table and gave your contribution. I'm hoping that we could continue in a series of conversations as it pertains to the autonomy bill, and not just have one conversation. Yes, so we can continue the discussion, bringing on a number of experts and stakeholders and political entities that can help us to have a greater understanding.
I think it's the responsibility of the media to do that too, So I congratulate you for that.
Yes, because I mean, it's not just about one party being responsible for Tobago autonomy. We all in Tobago have a responsibility. That's why I asked, what responsibility would you put on the public as it pertains to us using our voice and putting pressure on this administration to ensure that whatever is sent to Trinidad or whatever is made into law, whether it be by the Constitutional Amendment Bill or the Tobago Island Government Bill, that it is a true reflection of what Tobagonians truly want. And so I will have the conversations with my colleagues here at Tobago, because I know it was something that they would have discussed on several occasions last year before the bill came before the Parliament, and we were unable to do so. But even as we are, quote-unquote, starting over with the bill, maybe we can start over by allowing everyone to have a say where that is concerned.
Yes, and I truly hope that the Chief Secretary tomorrow will agree to pull back on that decision to send to Trinidad, and agree to forming the committee and proper arrangements to really hear from the people of Tobago wherever they reside, because we have about 300,000 people living in Trinidad too. who are Tobagonians and Tobagonian roots, and how do we hear from everyone, because it is important.
Excellent. Well, we want to thank you again. So guys, we're going to take a quick break right here and we'll be back right after this. See you soon.
Start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor, to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one.
Tobago, this is your chance to lock in the brunch experience of the summer. Sun up.
Real bad girl, get nasty.
The brunch inclusive edition, the ultimate party in the East, where vibrant flavors, refreshing cocktails, and electrifying vibes collide. It's happening on Saturday, July 5th from 3 p.m. at Deltec Compound, Argyle. Bring your coolers, bring your crew, and brunch, sip, and vibe in style. This is the flavorful escape you've been waiting for. Grab your tickets now at Barcode, Harblow Supermarket, Lost Restaurant and Lounge, Deltec Compound, and committee members. Sun up! It's more than a brunch, it's an experience.
Courts is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Courts Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Courts Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago, so it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
With Flow Business's new smart solutions, powered by super fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
Do you think you know Premier League or Champions League football? What about international cricket or the IPL and CPL? How about NBA basketball? Well, now you can put your skills to work to earn some extra cash by betting on the games with TT Bet Arena. Simply go to our website, choose a sport you want to bet on, find the games, and place your bets. And with your computer or mobile device, you can bet from anywhere. Just go to ttbetarena.com, sign up for a free account, make a deposit, and start betting. It's that simple. You can even qualify for our $2,000 sign-up bonus. We also have horse racing, plus live casino games where you can bet using TT dollars. And check our new Tobago location at 7B Milford Road, Crown Point. For more info, call or WhatsApp 494-0634. TT Bet Arena, the #1 sports betting company in Trinidad and Tobago.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. The energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates, guys. I'm your host, Chanel Felix, and this morning I have the privilege of sitting in studio with Naomiche Map, who is from the Tobago Reforestation, the Tobago Reforestation, Watershed and Rehabilitation Program. Now, this morning we are talking or continuing our conversation actually on World Bee Day. If you remember yesterday, I had that conversation with the Tobago Apiculture Society, and we were talking all about what's happening as it pertains to beekeeping here on the island of Tobago. This morning, Miss Map will be here to tell us some more about what's happening in that area, how you can become engaged, and how you can bring your plants to life by partnering with them. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you so very much for having us this morning. We really do appreciate the space and time given to us to discuss this exciting project.
Yes. Now, when we talk about beekeeping, it's not a lot of conversation happening surrounding that, but a greater effort is being made to not only improve apiculture on the island, but to also get persons to understand how it can benefit their farms, their livestock, and just their own home gardens and, whatever it is that they're doing. So as it pertains to growing plants, vegetables, or herbs. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so what we intend to do, we would have launched yesterday being World Bee Day, we would have launched our Pollinator Zones project, where we are inviting persons to bring in flowering plants and herbs and shrubs that may be native to Tobago initially, to create this zone that would encourage the pollinators. So we would have aptly teamed this project all about the bees and the pollinators that we are hoping to encourage back into the botanic gardens, especially would be bees, of course, butterflies, bats, and specifically birds, the hummingbirds, as key pollinators.
Excellent. And how can this help to benefit persons' own personal home garden or what they have going on as it pertains to their crops?
Well, it cannot be understated the importance of pollinators towards and their role and their contributory role towards agro-food systems and even in building climate resilience. So while this project in its first instance focuses within the botanic garden space at Scarborough, it is always encouraged that farmers or even ordinary backyard gardeners to still plant, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the flowers as we know it in a typical sense, but herbs that are flowering plants. So for instance, the vervines or even what we would have called locally, I grew up knowing it as the greater wood bush, those kind of native species to Tobago, to really encourage and to attract the pollinators back into that space. Because and I can share this experience growing up, because I'm from Bell Garden, Richmond Point to be exact, and growing up, I would have noticed so many butterfly species throughout, to such an extent that mom would have created a little butterfly net for us to go and capture, because the numbers were so high and the species were so varied. But we have noticed, and I mean, I have observed that the numbers have declined, and that really goes towards our ability to want to pollinate the food that we so rely upon, I mean, to sustain our food systems. So it is encouraged both farmers and ordinary persons to attract and to encourage, because we have lost a lot of these species, these pollinating species, due to pesticides and climate change and just loss of habitat. So just to encourage that regeneration and to encourage them back into our spaces.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I had not even recognized that I actually no longer see butterflies in True.
Yes.
And that is sad. And that was a huge part of my childhood as well. I mean, but even as it pertains to education, how is the Tobago Reforestation and Watershed Rehabilitation Initiative working to try to educate the public on how to maintain or sustain some of these pollinators in the ecosystem?
Right. So a lot of it would be through our education campaigns, education awareness campaigns. And so, for instance, specifically, although this project is under a partnership that we have with the BioReach and the EMA, and a lot of the conservation efforts towards the white-tailed saber-winged hummingbird, a lot of what we're doing in terms of going into the school is to speak about the importance of these organisms and the support that they play to our food systems. So going into the schools and to educate students that, yes, while we may see a bee, it's not just the first response is not to kill it.
Yes.
That's not the first response, because we also do have stingless species here on the island. So it's just to show how do we treat with the species, to probably just capture it and release it. It's not going to take, because I mean, most of these times, these organisms are more afraid of us than we are. We should be of them. So more of that education campaign and to build awareness. But I want to also recognize that I really do see a changing in the mindset of how persons generally approach these organisms, because I think there's a greater appreciation now for the role that they do play. And we are in a better space than we were years ago. Yes.
Excellent. And even as it pertains to some of your efforts and the school visits and stuff like that, how can persons, because there are young persons that are interested in this, often they would reach out to us with many different things, There are young persons who might say, well, this is an area I'm interested in and I would like to volunteer, or I would like to find out more. How can persons volunteer their services as a group, as a community, as maybe a youth council, a community council, to be a part of the work that you guys are doing?
Grateful for that question, because we love to see it. We are all about volunteering and we're all about collaboration, especially working with those entities or groups that are all for the development of Tobago and its people. So we have opened up the gardens in the first instance to allow persons to bring in their plants. So we want everybody to contribute. It's not just a our thing, it's a our thing. So we want persons to come in and to also contribute by bringing in their plants and shrubs. And also, if persons are willing and able to come in and assist us in the planting process under the technical expertise of the Department of Forestry, which functions under the Division of Food Security, we would then appreciate that. The Pollinator Week runs from, I believe, the 16th of June to the 22nd. So we're hoping at that time that persons would actually be coming into the gardens and assisting planting up these zones.
Excellent. Well, I mean, you can come back and remind us and send us all your flyers so that we can encourage the public and the schools and hopefully they can make it a field trip to come to the botanics gardens and come and plant a tree, or because I think I remember doing that as a young person, as a youth, growing up, we got to visit the botanical gardens and plant flowers and stuff like that. So I think that would be great to send an invitation to the Division of Education for the school, especially some of the lower level schools, the lower level primary schoolers at the first years and the second years, to grow up with the idea of environmental conservation as opposed to waiting until they're already in standard 5 and beating down bushes to now try to teach them how to conserve, but having that instilled at an early age. So hopefully we get to see a partnership between you guys and the Division of Education in the near future. Well, again, what type of plants can persons bring to be pollinated?
So we're looking at generally all flowering plants and shrubs, but we're having a focus because we really want to create a space that is very much similar to what we would find in the natural occurring Tobago environment. So a lot of the native species like the vervine that I would have mentioned, some of the basil, the marigolds, for instance, a lot of those plants that we would find that just naturally occurs in our Tobago space. We're encouraging those type of species and varieties to be planted.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, again, we want to thank you so much for your time this morning, and thank you for all the work that you guys are doing as it pertains to environmental conservation and as it pertains to assisting and supporting the beekeepers on the island.
Thank you.
Guys, unfortunately, this is where we call an end to this morning's discussions, but we still are not going to leave unless we thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have done and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Chanel Felix, and have a great day.
People strong.